Activity 3, using geometric theorems to demonstrate similarity. Now, mind you, we're going to focus specifically on similar triangles. And in this case, the triangles have pairs of corresponding angles that are congruent. A key fact about similarity is this exact statement. Matching angles from one shape to the other, they have to be the same size. The lengths of the sides are proportional, and so that's the other vocabulary word to focus on. They are going to be the same shape, but they're not necessarily going to be the same size. Same shape, not the same size. So in number 1, we have triangle HRY, and then this symbol is the symbol for similar. We have triangle HRY is similar to triangle JPT. Sketch a diagram that illustrates this similarity statement and list all pairs of congruent angles and all of the proportional sides. And here's how we're going to do that. Oh, by the way, the symbol tilde represents similarity. I'm going to start by sketching triangle HRY, and I'm just going to use my protractor to draw, I guess in pencil, a line and an angle. And the nice thing about triangles is if you draw an angle, a side, and an angle, you wind up with a consistent diagram every time. It needs letters H, R, Y. Now, to sketch the similar triangle, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to draw, I need the angles to be made, but I'm going to make my triangle a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go from a small triangle HRY to a large triangle JPT. And I think the best way to do this is I'm going to bring in a color. I'm going to bring in my ruler again, and I'm going to draw it definitely longer on the base edge. Now, if I use this angle here and I go in this direction, which you can kind of see because it went through the tracing paper, I traced it really, really hard, that this triangle, still using pencil by the way, not pen right now, this angle right here is going to be angle J. And it's saying it's angle J because it lines up with H just like H and J line up in the similarity statement. So J goes there. Now, I'm going to use, see that little it's nesting in that corner. Now I'm going to slide my tracing paper over to the other side, and I'm going to trace the other edge of this angle. And I drew that line really, really long because I don't know where they're going to cross at. I didn't measure, I didn't check proportional, but we're going to do that later on in the problem. But I see right here, it's not quite on the corner like I want it to, but I can at least sketch it parallel to. So I'm going to go like this. And I only really need to draw that side that long because drawing it any longer isn't necessary. It's beyond the scope of that corner. So I have in blue, in pen now, I have this second side of the triangle, and I have this third side of the triangle. And I'm going to label, of course, my letters HRY, J, P, T. Here's my similarity statement. Identify all the pairs of congruent angles. So angle H is congruent to angle J. Angle R is congruent to angle P. And angle Y is congruent to angle T. Those are all the pairs of matching congruent angles. They correspond. They have the same measure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? 3 arcs all the way through. Now, in order to write our proportional sides, then it's something like, I can't use spikes. I'll put a spike down here, but I can't put a spike on JP because it's not the same length as HR. But I can at least comment on HR and JP. They are matching sides. They need to be made into a fraction. Let's put bigger on top. JP over HR. The truth is, though, that if you find a second side, that second side will match or correspond to something in the other triangle. They won't be equal in size. These are definitely not the same size. PT is bigger than RY. However, if I make a fraction out of those sides, I could put PT over RY. That will equal the other triangles. The other first proportion that we created. And then last of all, third side, third fraction, JT over HY. That's it for number 1. I've sketched 2 triangles. They're similar. They're not congruent. One is a different size than the other one. But we do acknowledge they have congruent angles and sides that are in a proportion. Let's take a look at number 2, the last question on this page now. Some questions along the way as they get there. How does the similarity statement help you map out corresponding angles and sides? Reminder, the similarity statement is that H and J are matching angles. They're the first letters in the similarity statement. R and P are matching, is congruent to angle M, and angle H, well, it's this angle H, so I'll say GHK is congruent to this angle H, so I'll say MHS. And we need to show that angle K is congruent to angle S. So similarity statements are all about identifying the parts that match. So H and M, S and, or G and M, I mean, and S and K. We need to show that the angles are matching. We could also show this final thing, and the final thing is that GH is one of the sides of the small triangle, and it matches MH. But they notice the letters match, right? The similarity statement, the letters have to match. Is congruent to, I'll put a squiggle through it. Maybe a squiggle is the right letter. Squiggle, 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 squiggle. So this is KH. Congruent to, or not congruent, but makes a fraction with SH, and then squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. I'm making this notation up. You're seeing it for the first time. GK, MS. If we're going to show that the two triangles are similar, we better show the angles are matching, the same size, like from one shape to the next. But we also need to show that the proportional sides, they make actually equivalent fractions. Any other things? Do you need to prove all 3 pairs of corresponding angles congruent to show the triangles are similar? No. In fact, I had that realization halfway through. I could have stopped right there and only showed those 2 statements, because when you can do that, that's called angle-angle similarity. We'll get more into that in the next lesson, or the upcoming section of lessons. Thank you for watching this video. This has been page 454. Last for this lesson is the finish out question 3 on activity 3, and the video after that to do the talk the talk. So thank you for checking in. We'll see you in the next episode.